Avidyakang shariradi drishyam buddhavaksharam etad vilakshanang vidyad ahang brahmeti nirmalang. Avidyakang, gross, subtle, and causal. Shariradi, body, etc. Drishyam, perceived objects. Buddhavat, as bubbles. Ksharam, perishable. Etad vilakshanam, separate from all these. Vidyat, realize. Ahang, I. Brahma, Brahman. Iti, thus. Nirmalam, pure. The gross, subtle, and causal bodies created by avidyā are perceived objects, perishable like bubbles. Realize by discrimination that you are the stainless Brahman, completely different from them.
Namaste. So the bodies, the gross, subtle, and causal bodies, are items of perception. They're objects separate from the self. And the proof of that is that we perceive them. We can't perceive the self because the self is the perceiver. The self is consciousness. That consciousness is the same in all bodies. So, what to speak of all human bodies, even in animal bodies, we observe the same symptoms of consciousness. The consciousness of the senses and their objects, Jagrat, consciousness of dreams in sleep, Swapna, and Sushupti, consciousness of nothingness, where there are no objects, but there's still awareness. There's still Brahman. And the proof of this is if someone is sleeping and you clap your hands and call their name loudly, they wake up, even in deep sleep. So there is an awareness there, and we can reach it by applying the proper stimulus. There's a famous passage in the Brihadaranyaka where a philosopher goes to a king to preach to him, to teach him. But the king turns out to be more enlightened than the Brahmin. So he's trying to show him what is actually Brahman. And he takes him where there's a man sleeping. And he begins reciting poetry. And the man doesn't stir. He doesn't say anything. But then the king claps his hands and calls the man's name loudly and shakes his shoulder. And he instantly wakes up. So see, this is the proof that even though the man is in deep sleep, not even dreams, just nothing, the sound of his name and some indication of urgency, touching or clapping, is sufficient to wake him, to bring him into Jagrat consciousness. So this proves that the self-awareness, the presence of the self, is there, even in deep sleep. So what to speak of Turiya, what to speak of Brahman, identification with Brahman, knowledge of Brahman, self-realization, Atma-jnana, tmabodhah. This Atma-bodhah leads to the recognition that I am Brahman. What else could we be? We're not any of these bodies, gross or subtle. We're not an object in the world like a tree or a rock. We are that which is aware of all these. So that is Brahman, beyond the subtle bodies. Because the subtle bodies are known. We're aware of our thoughts, we're aware of our feelings, our intentions, our choices, our priorities. So they cannot be the self. Those must reside in the subtle bodies or the gross body. Like when I got up this morning, I was hungry. I felt hungry. I felt hungry. Subject, verb, object. So that's not me. That feeling of hungriness belongs to the body. It's not me. I'm just observing it. And then I create the intention to go into the kitchen and make some breakfast. But that's not me either. That intention lives in the subtle body. And finally, when I finally eat the breakfast and it tastes good, I had fruits and yogurt and like that. The pleasure is not me either, because I am aware of it. Therefore, it's external to the self. The self cannot be divided. That's why it's the same in every creature. The self has no qualities of its own, but of course, we assign qualities to it by superimposition, by falsely identifying the three bodies with the self. But these are perceived, therefore they are perishable. Just like in deep sleep, we're not aware of the body, the senses, the world, or even the mind. There's nothing. So, but still, that can be busted like a bubble. And in a second, we can become awake with the proper stimulus. So, this is all food for discrimination, viveka, that I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am not this false ego, I am not any of these koshas, sheaths. I am only the knower, the watcher, the witness, the self, Brahman. This is tmabodhah. This is what we're trying to develop here. And by hearing again and again and again this actually very simple philosophy, slowly, slowly we attain it. So there are three main avenues or paths to attaining Brahman. One is through sadhana. That means studying the scriptures, chanting mantras, offering pujas, doing all kinds of mental exercises, physical exercises like pranayama, and so on. But this is actually just preliminary. The second method is by meditation, samadhi, that once the mind and the subtle body is clean, purified by performance of sadhana and such, then one can fix the mind on Brahman and meditate on Brahman continuously. Or at least that's the goal. In the beginning, we have to meditate formally, like set up a sitting place and have a formal session. Okay, now I'm going to meditate on Brahman. Then watch the mind jumping around like a monkey, chattering. Until finally, after many, many hours, days, months, years, it quiets down. And in that moment of silence, Brahman can be realized. The self can be realized. And then there's the third way that Shankaracharya has revealed to us through his writings, which is actually given in the Upanishads. It's not anything original to him, but he is the one who brought it out and popularized it as a teaching and even created a whole spiritual community with 4 monasteries, or 5, depending on how you keep score, all over India, and many, many books and prayers and other treatises, commentaries on the scriptures and so on, which is called Kevala Advaita. Kevala means pure, single, only one. And Advaita, of course, means non-duality. This is the path of knowledge. Simply by knowing Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, and being mindful of this in every circumstance, 24/7. One can realize Brahman. Even without meditation, even without sadhana. Of course, it's assumed that one is a pious person, a deeply renounced person with no material desire and so on. These are the sadhana chashturta. The four kinds of preparatory qualifications for one who wants to realize Brahman. And the final one is mumukshutvam, the desire to realize Brahman. Now, it might surprise you that this desire does not arise spontaneously. It's something that has to be cultivated. One has to sit down and actively choose and determine that I am going to attain moksha. It's not natural. It doesn't arise spontaneously. You have to make an effort. I want this liberation. I am going to attain it. And if one is sufficiently prepared, the desire alone leads to the realization that makes the whole material universe disappear.
Om Tat Sat, Om Shakti